In this tutorial, I'm going to take you through how I make this lemon illustration. I've drawn an outline here so you can kind of see the direction that I'm heading. So I'm going to be working on 2 different sheets of paper and do 3 layers of paint on each paper. So in my first piece of paper, I'm going to make it yellow for the lemon, and I add oil pastel and white crayon and a multicolored crayon to add some texture, because my first layer is watercolor, and this acts as a wax resist, so whatever mark I'm making, the water doesn't go over it when I put it on, and you'll be able to see it later that it shines through, and I like that additional texture in the final results. It's quite subtle, but you can see it. So as you can see where I made a mark with white crayon, that it's shining through. So now I'm just adding yellow watercolor paint, mixing it all in because I'm using a lot of different kind of shades of yellow and orange. And yeah, this is just the first layer, which is always just pretty basic, that it just is the base layer and needs to happen. So I put that to dry, and then I'm working on my leafy layer, and I've decided to make the leaves kind of more blue and turquoise-ish because that pairs well with yellow. I don't know if you've noticed, like, if you see lemon illustrations, the leaves, or, there's always, like, some blue, because yellow and blue are colours that go well together. So now I'm just adding some watercolour paint over the crayon, and adding some green and blue, and, just being very basic with it. So in my layer 2, let it all dry, and I am using gouache paint to do these. You can use acrylic. I think a lot of collage artists use acrylic, but I think it doesn't really matter what you use. And honestly, I'm just using gouache because it's there, and I don't really have much acrylic paint at the moment. So that's my little secret. I'm using a brush that's quite bristly on the end. It's not a smooth brush. So that when I paint, there's a lot of texture that happens, and when I'm making a mark, I kind of just lightly brush the paper, so that you can get the texture from the end of the bristles of the brush. And then I add different amounts of water. I think in this second layer it's a more watery layer, whereas the third layer is more solid and it has more textures. So in this layer I'm just putting more colour on the paper, and I'm not being very precious with my brush strokes, in that I'm not doing it all like in a straight line. I'm just kind of being quite liberal with it, and giving it kind of a messy kind of a texture. I'm not a perfectionist at all, so it's easy for me to kind of just be messy with these kind of things, but I know that it's difficult for some people. So you can see more clearly in the blue colour the difference between the first layer and the second layer, and yeah, so with the yellow I was using lemon yellow, white acrylic paint, and yellow ochre, and then with this blue I added some of the yellow ochre in it to make it a bit more turquoisey instead of just like bright blue. And you can see the background is visible underneath this layer, which is fine, I think. Yeah, I don't really have a plan going into it. I have like a vague idea of kind of what I want to do, or kind of like my finished goal. I have a vague idea of that, but then in the process I kind of just make it up as I go along, which, you know, has its good points and bad points, but yeah. So in this final layer, for me it's all about adding those final touches of texture. So I put a lot of strong lemon yellow onto that one, and then in this one, yeah, I later add some more blue, and yeah, again, I think in this layer it's less watery, so the paint has more texture in it already, and then just lightly brushing it with the tip of my brush allows you to get those good brush stroke movements in, and yeah, look like after I've scanned them, and I'll see you in Photoshop for part 2 of this tutorial.